Good evening, and you are watching The Right Stand with me, Ayushman Singh Jamwal. Controversy echoed on the campus of Delhi's Jawaharlal Nehru University on Monday after the Supreme Court denied bail student activists Umar Khalid and Sharjeel Imam. The two men have been in jail for over 5 years. They face charges in a larger conspiracy case linked to the 2020 Delhi riots. In 2016, if anti-national slogans rocked the campus, in 2026, it's the Kabar Khudegi storm. Conspirator Umar Khalid has been put on a pedestal as politicians have questioned the court and backed the riot plotter. On the left-hand side, you can see Mahua Moitra taking oath as an MP, taking oath as per the constitution, and the same MP is standing by someone who talks of breaking the country. The TMC MP has penned a poem for Umar Khalid where she expresses solidarity for the conspirators, saying that he will rise. It's not just the TMC MP Mahua Moitra who has expressed solidarity, citing bitter, twisted lies in the poem for Umar, but more opposition leaders like the Congress Party's Prithviraj Chavan questioned the Supreme Court verdict on the entire matter and I quote, prolonged detention of Umar Khalid and Sharjeel Imam without trial, stating that the delay in the trial overrides statutory restrictions under the UAPA. Now, another Congress leader, Hussain Dalwai, said that prolonged detention is unjust and means they have lost their youth in prison, is the pitch that came in from the Congress leader. Now, CPM leader Brinda Karat has said Khalid has been demonized by the government and their investigative agencies. But let's not forget what the Supreme Court said, ladies and gentlemen. The prosecution disclosed prima facie roles of Umar Khalid and Sharjeel Imam. The court was satisfied to the extent of planning and organization when it comes to the 2020 Delhi riots. Sharjeel Imam and Umar Khalid's role was found to be central to the conspiracy. As per the Supreme Court ruling, the court found Umar Khalid and Sharjeel Imam stand on a different footing than others. Delay alone cannot operate as a trump card for bail, is a crucial observation coming in from the top court of the land. Offences regarding security of the nation require a different bail regime. The nation's security, preservation of public order are important facets. Terrorist acts not only violence but also disruption of essential services is also the pitch that came in from the top court of the country. Assessment of a person's liberty is different in cases of threatening the foundation of the state. Another crucial ruling coming in from the top court of the country. And most importantly, incarceration only due to mere passage of time cannot be considered punishment. The big question that we ask is that by hailing Khalid a hero, is the ecosystem backing the riot plotters, demonizing agencies as well as the courts? Let's get to our guests as we have a spirited debate on this entire matter. Shahzad Poonawalla, national spokesperson of the BJP. Shubhankar Bhattacharya is about to join us, political analyst. Sanjay Sahai, former IPS, and Rashmi Samant, activist, are joining us on The Right Stand. Good evening, everyone. And before we begin, I want to set the tone and tenor of this entire debate just by quoting Mahua Moitra. Let's go ahead with this poem that she's written for the man on your screens, Umar Khalid, saying, "You will rise, Umar Khalid. You may write me down in history with your bitter, twisted lies. You may trod me in the very dirt, but still like dust I'll rise. You may shoot me with your words. You may cut me with your eyes. You may kill me with your hatefulness, but still like air I'll rise." So stirring words coming in from Mahua Moitra for Umar Khalid. I wanted to get the reaction of Shubhankar Bhattacharya to get the Tagore spirit inside him to react to this poem for Umar Khalid. But because he's not with us right now, Shahzad Poonawalla, your first reaction to this literary exercise that Mahua Moitra has done for Umar Khalid?
No, she has been showing such literary fare for all anti-India elements. You remember she had endorsed a very literary post about Indians and racially abusing Indians and Diwali by a foreigner, by a racist foreigner. And you remember that she has also said that why would any Bangladeshi want to infiltrate into India? Because Bangladesh, according to her, has better quality of life and GDP. I mean, we need to ask the Hindus in Bangladesh about that. But having said that, this is the literary fare that all the people in the Chico system, I don't call it ecosystem, Chico system, who are Chicoing right from New York to New Delhi, have been saying, whether it's Prithviraj Chavan, Brinda Karat or now Mahua Moitra, they are all questioning the Supreme Court's wisdom. They're all saying that the Supreme Court is a communal organization, a communal body, that the Supreme Court does not understand what is law and what are facts. Secondly, coming out in support of anti-India elements, this is nothing new. She's a lady who gave her ID and password to a person to operate from outside India. She created a national security threat for parliament. Secondly, her party routinely stands for anti-India elements, whether it's the Ghuspetias or Rohingyas. Thirdly, they have stood for Batla House and counter-terrorists, for Afzal Guru, who has been convicted by Supreme Court, for Yaqub Memon, for terrorists and Naxalis, and they've called them Shaheed. So this is the kind of Chico system. Today they are questioning the wisdom of the Supreme Court. I just want to ask one question, that they say that Muslims are being treated unfairly. Out of 7 people, 5 people got bail. Gulfi Shah, is she a Hindu? Miran Haider is a Hindu. Shifaur Rahman, Shadab, Muhammad Salim Khan, all of these are Muslims. And what have they chanted yesterday? Modi, Amit Shah, teri kabar khudegi, JNU ki dharti par. And they have not denied it. Mr. Udit Raj has come out and said that this is a resentment that is being shown for the Supreme Court verdict, and it is a part of free speech. What is part of their free speech? Chicken neck kaat do, Modi ki kabar khod do. Umar Khalid says Kashmir is illegally occupied by India. Then this is the kind of free speech they are talking about. So this shows that the slogans chanted yesterday or the slogans chanted at the time of Afzal Hum Sharminda, all of them emanate from the India Alliance. And that's why I think Mr. TMC spokesperson is very embarrassed. I don't think he wants to come and defend Mahua.
I think he's going to take some time, but I want to get his reaction on that. But Shahzad, when talking about what happened in JNU when it came to the chanting of those slogans against the Prime Minister and the Home Minister, I just think that any other university, if their students are doing something like this, instead of the university writing to the cops to take action, why isn't the university doing anything about it?
No, the university has already ordered an internal inquiry, post which they will take disciplinary action. And because we are following principles of natural justice, the university has to give the so-called students a chance to appear and give their side of the story. That's how constitutionalism works in this country. But having said that, I do not lay the blame on the university. University is a very prestigious university. Our foreign minister, our finance minister also come from that. We have nothing against the university. It is the mindset of these elements. And see, today Shubhankar will not at all condemn Mahua Moitra. If he does not condemn it, that means this is the TMC's mindset. For them it is Babri, Bahari and Atankwadi.
Right, but let's give him some context. Shubhankar, thank you for joining us on the broadcast. I think you've read Mahua Moitra's poem. I'm guessing you've read the words that she had to say for Umar Khalid. Is the Tagore inside you now stirred to support someone who called for the separation of Kashmir from the country?
Well, no doubt it's a very finely written poem, and anybody with having any good idea about the literary context, I think Mahua Moitra's poem will draw a lot of accolades for her. Now come to the line that how is it, how it goes for the party line. I don't think that the TMC party has actually, they stood behind it, that it's being for the support of Umar Khalid or as such. There hasn't been any official support as such.
The first line of the poem is, "You will rise, Umar Khalid."
Mahua Moitra's context and Mahua Moitra's.
The first line itself says, "You will rise, Umar Khalid."
Of course, that is Mahua Moitra's word, that is Mahua Moitra's context, and that is, yes, of course, that is being said by Mahua Moitra in a personal context. That is her own.
Okay, now you're separating.
Her own ideas that she has penned, and she has got every right to do it. That she has got every right to do it. But I didn't hear any support coming in from officially from the TNC. That is one thing. The second aspect is, see, Umar Khalid, the trial is still going on. It is still going on. It is the way the entire case has been, put up. It is half cooked and it is taking time. Of course, they have been granted bail, but the case is still. I won't be commenting on it because
you just commented on it. You just called it half cooked.
The sentence.
Can't say half cooked and say I'm not comment on the case.
Yes, half cooked because. See, I am saying half-cooked because the way the entire case has been framed. So it looks like that. Let the Supreme Court come up with a complete verdict of it, and then I think the nation shall, they can, anybody can build any opinion on that. That is something different. But as of now, see, you cannot paint anybody black just because you don't have the complete facts ready with you.
Right.
So,
but
Mahua
then
Moitra also has her own rights to, come on
right.
and have her opinion
Yeah,
with
right.
anybody.
Right. So you're saying that logically, because the verdict hasn't come in, we shouldn't paint anyone as a criminal. But Mahua Moitra painting Umar Khalid as some kind of national revolutionary without the facts coming out, that is valid.
See, one thing you cannot deny, the fact is that, the leaders like Umar Khalid, they might be fighting for their own cause, they have their own ideologies.
Leaders like Umar
Don't know. Because the things are, they have still not come clear out of it. The thing is, they have still, it has not been clear in the Supreme Court that what exactly has gone wrong. The Supreme Court verdict, as a verdict in double inverted commas, it is not out yet. So, before that, you cannot, he's still an accused of it.
Right. But you can't deny what the Supreme Court has said. It said very clearly the court is satisfied to the extent of planning and organization when it comes to the 2020 Delhi riots. That's why bail has been denied. I think you can't live in this la-la land when it comes to the charges
So
that these two...
No, that way, I think they could have been, directly put to the sentence. It's still, it's still the case is on.
Okay.
There are still Supreme Court is waiting for the facts as well. It is not like that, when we can grant bail to Kuldeep Sengar, when we can grant bail to
Before this gets obfuscated.
One sec,
people who have joined the BJP,
I'll tell
I
you,
don't want to name them,
Shubhankar,
and we can close the scam.
Shubhankar, I remember,
Shubhankar,
I remember, when I was in college in 2012, Ambikesh Mahapatra was put in jail for forwarding a cartoon of Mamata Banerjee.
Yeah.
He got acquitted how many years later?
11.
11 years later. 11 years later, there is no moral high ground that the TMC stands on. Right. No, but that's something the TMC has to answer. Shehzad Poonawala.
Very quickly, and just
one second.
I'm not sitting here. I'm not sitting over here
go
to
on and on,
defend
he'll keep
what
wasting
happened,
time.
what Mamata Banerjee did. I'm not
Okay.
sitting here.
You're
to
not
defend
sitting
that.
here. Okay, you're not here to defend the TMC.
No,
Shehzad,
it is
please.
the indefensible, so I guess that's the case.
Come
But
on.
let me now make
Shahid
three very
Poonawala,
quick
kindly
points
don't
without
be
interruption.
personal.
Shubhankar.
Don't interrupt. Come
I'm
on.
not seeing a scam over
Shubhankar,
here.
1 second. Now, Shubhankar said that Umar Khalid has not been convicted by the Supreme Court or by any court. That's true, actually. I agree with you. But Sadhvi Pragya wasn't convicted either. In fact, she got acquitted and Rahul Gandhi still called her terrorist. Mahua Moitra still called them Hindu terrorists. So that's their hypocrisy, point number one. By the way, Supreme Court has said prima facie they are guilty of the charges and has denied them bail. Not only denied them bail, but 1 year they can't apply. But he said that still Mahua Moitra has the right to defend Umar Khalid. Just let me tell you what Umar Khalid has written. I don't care if I fall as long as someone picks up the gun and keeps on shooting. These words were said by Che Guevara but could have been said by Burhan Wani. Burhan wasn't scared of death, he was scared of a life of subjugation. He detested it, he lived a free man, died a free man. Doomed is the Indian occupation, Indian state, how will you defeat the people who have defeated their fears? Rise in power, Burhan. And today she's saying rise in power, this Umar. So you see where this is coming from. It is directly supporting Burhan also. And thirdly, if TMC does not endorse it, why doesn't TMC come out and say that this is not our view, even though she's our MP? We do not want these views. They have done that in the past with her.
Yeah, absolutely, Shubhankar. The silence from the TMC when it comes to the statement that's come in from Mahua Moitra also speaks volumes at the end of the day. That's something you have to identify. But at the same time, I want to get another perspective. Sanjay Sahai, former IPS, is also joining us, as well as Rashmi Samad. Mr. Sahai, when it comes to the Supreme Court, what it said about the prima facie charges, we cannot deny the fact that the Supreme Court went through whatever the evidence the prosecution had to highlight the seriousness of the charges. The denial of bail from the highest court in the country is not a matter that can be targeted politically like this. And, and as Shubhankar was calling the case half-cooked, I mean, look at what the Supreme Court has said in its ruling.
See, there are two things before we get into the details of this case, and I will certainly elaborate the details of this case. First and foremost, that criminal investigation in this country has been politicized to a level that we talk in terms of Congress, BJP, and things of that nature. Criminal investigation has to be objective, empirical, and outside of the political purview. That is first and foremost. The second is we are getting into Hindu-Muslim part of it, also as part of the criminal investigation. Now coming to what the Supreme Court has said. Supreme Court was working within the statute of UAPA and section 43D5. It clarifies the conditions for bail. So if there is a prima facie case which clearly indicates that bail cannot be given. With regards to other people who have been granted bail and earlier by the High Court, it is legally presumed that they did not fall within the part of that particular prima facie case. It continued till the High Court, and then after the High Court, Supreme Court decided that these many people do not fall in that purview. That is technically, legally, that is the stand. With regards to other cases which have been registered and which have gone through the rigmarole of the judicial process, there are large number of cases which have not been convicted. There have been talk of, even at the court level, of copy-paste and template charge sheet. Copy-paste evidence and template charge sheet.
Right.
So UAPA case is certainly a different case. It is being treated at that level as the statute wants. So as far as the bail is concerned, these are the conditions on which bail has not been granted, and court has gone a step further. That for a year they should not come back to the court asking for the bail.
Right. But clearly, at the end of the day, these two lines of the Supreme Court ruling, assessment of a person's liberty is different in cases of threatening the foundation of the state. And number two, incarceration only due to mere passage of time cannot be considered punishment. Rashmi Samant, in this context, to have these words of "you will rise Umar Khalid" coming in from a very top TMC MP, and the silence, as Shahzad Poonawalla was pointing out, from the TMC camp, even though Shubhankar is trying to give this spin that the TMC doesn't support this work of literature coming in from Mahua Moitra. How do you see this coming in? Is it a clear political stand coming in across from the TMC camp?
Well, Ayushman, I'd like to firstly, specify by saying that the UAPA can only be invoked when specific statutory conditions are met, as the panelists before me specified, especially when it threatens the sovereignty, integrity, security, or the unity of this country. So that being put into perspective, you just don't slap UAPA on anybody and everybody, and the case does not hold for so long under the specific conditions if there's no prima facie evidence. So that being put into perspective, I think people need to be extremely careful about what they say on this case, especially when it's under the purview of the Supreme Court. I've more often than not seen, Ayushman, that terrorism, that bigotry, that acts of terror and threats to sovereignty and security of a country, it works like that of a sports team. There are different members who play different roles. There are people who come and, they excite the mobs on the ground. Then there are people who support and glorify the entire phenomena to somehow decriminalize it, to the extent that the entire phenomena works like a spectator sports team, like a football team, where everybody has their own role. And here I see Mahua Moitra playing a part in that very team which caused the Delhi riots. I won't mince my words. I definitely feel that trying to decriminalize and spread propaganda that tries to whitewash the image of the very people who were responsible for such heinous crimes, which left 53 people dead in our national capital, including an IB officer and a sub-inspector. It's a serious threat to the unity of this country. Any well-meaning citizen who has the best interest of this country can see that. And to see a parliamentarian who's, supposed to uphold the constitution of this country, who holds a constitutional office, decriminalize this very serious threat to our country, that is extremely concerning. To see that she's trying to play the very part that, Goebbels played in decriminalizing the gassing of Jews in Hitler's Germany is what's happening. I can definitely play this parallel, because what she's trying to do is play to the exact team of the people who caused these riots, decriminalize it, try to whitewash them, and try to show as if they were sacrificing themselves for some greater good. The only greater good that I can see here is something that's against the sovereignty of this country. And if that's the priority of few elected members and a national party in our country that holds power in a state like West Bengal, as an Indian citizen, I'm extremely concerned.
Right, and Shubhankar, that is the main point. You know, we've been highlighting this fact that Mahua Moitra is not someone who doesn't know about current affairs. Is not someone who doesn't know about the rule of law. She's taken the oath under the Constitution, the same Constitution that talks about the integrity of India. Yet she's writing this poem for someone who pretty much has been spitting on the Constitution ever since his student activism days. This is the same man who said India is occupying Kashmir, is the words of the Hurriyat that he was echoing in JNU. He has said Kashmiris want Bharat se azadi. He's also said, can we truly have a free India if we continue to occupy Kashmir? Can someone who's taken an oath to defend the Constitution, is it right for them to write these poetic words for someone who speaks that language? Shubhankar?
I hope the question is to me.
Yes, it is to you. Yeah.
Okay. See, I'm just quoting from the Law Journal, one of the law journals over here. It is livelaw.in, right? One of the most read law journals over here, which is saying that it is striking that the Supreme Court has rubber stamped. It is being observed, and quite shocking that the Supreme Court has rubber stamped the prosecution's idea of statement only, whereas it is saying that the most striking is the court's failure to engage with its own jurisprudence on personal liberty and speedy trial as expounded in Javed Ghulam Nabi Sheikh versus State of Maharashtra and Sheikh Javed Iqbal versus State of Uttar Pradesh, which arose out of UAPA cases. These judgments affirmed that the presumptions of innocence and right to speedy trial should not be lost in UAPA cases.
Right. Tell me one thing.
This is the observation even in a law journal.
You're reading the opinion of a journalist.
So even they are saying that.
Whose opinion are you reading? You're reading someone's opinion about what the Supreme Court said, right?
So if you let me, so if a journalist can have an opinion, see, this is an opinion of a journalist who is a citizen of India.
Right.
Mahua Moitra can also have her opinion. Can also share her opinion, can pen her ideas down.
Is it right
so
for
why
her?
do you have any problem with
because she has taken an oath to defend the Constitution. This individual was calling for the separation of Kashmir.
Umar Khalid just a moment. Is Umar Khalid has been considered accused or already been sentenced?
I'm saying
as a terrorist. Has even the Supreme Court taken the decision? So how can you already stamp anyone
you are in
terrorist
before
even the court takes the decision?
Shubhankar,
if you want a media trial, do it. Do it on media. Don't talk about Supreme Court.
I'm talking about basic common sense as a person in public life. You are writing a poem for someone who's called for the separation of Kashmir from India.
I'm talking about the rights. I'm talking about the rights.
There's a right to say that Kashmir should be separated from India. That's a right.
I'm talking about the legal rights.
Okay. Shahzad Poonawala,
I'm not surprised.
I think I'm getting stonewalled again from the TMC.
I'm not surprised.
Once again, stonewalling.
I'm not
this
surprised.
is an indefensible case. Go ahead.
I'm not surprised by Shubhankar's point of view because Mamata Banerjee herself has supported Umar Khalid in 2020. She has said when he was arrested that those involved in movements are being targeted. And at that time also these things were known. Secondly, now he has spoken about Supreme Court rubber stamping. Sir had explained about the 43D5 in the UAPA. By the way, that is true. The presumption of innocence is overturned in 43D5 as far as grant of bail is concerned. But you know who brought this? In 2008, it was brought by the UPA government. It is a UPA government creation. And who is with UPA today also? TMC. Thirdly, you are saying that you support somebody who wants to have the vivisection of India. So somebody who's saying Jinnah wali baat, you're supporting him and you're saying it's my right. But what Rashmi has said is the most important thing. Do you know there is doctors, we have seen the Delhi blast, doctors of terror. There are spin doctors of terror. You know, when the Delhi blast happened, there was somebody who said, "Bhatke hue yuva hai ji." Then they say, "Burhan Wani to professor ka beta hai ji." And Yaqub Memon to bichara CA tha ji. Afzal Guru to bichara halat ka mara tha ji. So this spin doctoring on terror is what this TMC is doing. They are doing it because elections are close, so they have to appeal to a vote bank.
Shubhankar, I'll just give you another opportunity, just talking about, basic common sense in public life.
Can I
Someone who is famous for calling for the separation of Kashmir from India, does an elected member of parliament who's taken an oath on the constitution to defend the constitution, does it behoove that person to write such words for that individual?
Simple thing is, I cannot actually, articulate it in a way that, Shahzad does it very well. And I cannot enact and dramatize the situation accordingly because I am not going to the...
You are from Mamta Didi's party, Baba.
And I am not...
Drama is your middle name.
To defend Umar Khalid.
I'm telling you, bring out your inner Tagore, yaar. Come on, bring out your inner Tagore.
Shahzad, no, don't interrupt. Shahzad, now hold your courtesy as well.
This party should have no problem with drama.
You try to, you always comment on other people when they talk in between. Right?
Please go on,
so
sir.
Please also show the same courtesy to others as well.
Okay, go ahead. Shubhankar, go ahead.
Right? Please.
Go ahead.
जरूरत पड़ेगी तो लिख देंगे. आपके भी लोग हैं. Why don't you say?
The
people who have stood by the Tenny's son who got the bail after running over 14 farmers, you killed them and then they get the bail just because they are the son of your ministers. The main terrorist, are they any less of a terrorist? You have been supporting these people. You see that Kuldeep Sengar doesn't get any. Kuldeep Sengar killed the entire family of the victim. What did you do?
I think the lid has been completely blown on the TMC perspective over here. No. The lid has been completely blown. This ranting does not make any sense. Shubhankar, your ranting does not support this case. I think at the end of the day, your ranting doesn't help your case only. I think you've blown the lid of your own argument by making all of this.
Right. Your ranting. Either go to, if you want a media trial, shut the Supreme Court down. You have the power. You already plan to control the election. You can plan to control the...
Now we've gone on to vote chori as well. I think...
You're coming from a party who just knows how to put everything under control.
I think you don't have a specific argument. Put his fader down. Put his fader down. He's not making any sense now. Put his fader down, please. I'll just get some other perspective. He's clearly not making any sense. He's just now ranting. I think he's just reading the entire Rolodex of the opposition to take on the BJP. Rashmi Samant, I think the lid's been completely blown off the TMC argument here. This man was at first a bit reserved about his comments about Mahua Moitra and Umar Khalid, but now it's run away from him completely.
Absolutely. I think, they try to play this on the, sort of boundary kind of a thing for a while. But then I think if they poke further, you clearly see what their intentions are. They're not in the, it's not for this country. It's not in the party of this country. It's not in the good, intention for this country. That is very unfortunate. And, going forward, I feel that it's extremely problematic that they try to glorify these terrorists by calling them IITians and, by calling them engineers and doctors and well-educated. I'm an IITian. I studied at the IIT Delhi. I'm an Oxonian. I went to the University of Oxford. I'm free. I do not have any charges. I'm not in jail because I love my country. And I continue to love my country every day. Just because I go to a premier institution, that does not take away a person's intent to be against a particular country or for a particular country and commit crimes. If not anything, we should be extremely scared that the terrorist went to IIT Delhi. That means that his capacity to cause harm is so much more than an uneducated terrorist. I think we should all be, harping on that. That should be what a, Bharat-loving parliamentarian should be saying. That look, went to IIT. That means that their capacity to cause harm to this country is even more. We need to see why the youth of this country is resorting to these things.
Absolutely.
She's not taking on these things.
Rashmi,
It's
I
extremely
completely
problematic.
understand your point. I thought I would get a very cogent kind of perspective from Shubhankar over here, who's taking the other side, but clearly he's gone on that rant, not even saying that it's poor judgment at the end of the day for a member of parliament to back someone. Not only is he accused in the 2020 Delhi riots case, but for the fact of his open statements calling for the separation of Kashmir from this country. If a member of parliament is openly supporting those kind of perspectives, what are we talking about when it comes to any kind of level of jurisprudence or probity in public life? Because at the end of the day, these kind of terms, even after the Supreme Court ruling, you may trod me in the very dirt, but still like dust I'll rise. You may shoot me with your words. You may cut me with your eyes. You may kill me with your hatefulness. I mean, juxtapose this to what the Supreme Court had to say about the merits of this case, and you'll see where the TMC stands in this entire matter. And I'm sorry, Shubhankar, you've not been able to make a valid case that can even spin, as Shahzad was pointing out, even spin this case in favor for the TMC. I think everyone, especially the India bloc, stands completely exposed on this entire matter. But let's shift perspective, ladies and gentlemen. I want to thank everyone.